What's up, Everything Medicare Podcast Nation? This is Christian Brindle, and welcome to another edition of the Everything Medicare Podcast. This is episode 95. We've done 95 of these podcasts. I can't believe I've done 95 of these podcasts. When we first started doing this, I never thought anybody would want to listen. I never thought anybody would be interested in a topic as interesting is a nice way to put it, so we're going to use that terminology as Medicare, as interesting as Medicare. Every single week, I bring you 3 episodes of this podcast, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, where I discuss your Medicare, your Medicaid, your Social Security, and everything that has to do with that golden age called retirement. And folks, today, I have, for the most part, provided this podcast basically information free. Okay, this is information that's free to you, free content. I've provided probably more free Medicare information on this podcast than anyone has ever done, or very few have ever done in the world of Medicare, without asking anything from you. You don't need to subscribe for anything. You don't need to give me your email address. You don't need to sign up with me first or agree to a meeting or any of this stuff, that you see online, or, or you go to one of those quote engines on the internet. You're trying to find a quote for something, or you're trying to find Medicare supplement rates. You have to enter in your email, your zip code, your phone number, and then you get calls for the next 10 years from various different people trying to sell you stuff. I don't ask for any of that. I just give you information. 95 episodes in, and we just give you information. But today is probably going to be the most sales pitchy that I will ever get. Okay? It's probably going to be the one episode where it's incredibly sales pitchy. And going into the enrollment period, it's just something that I wanted to do. A lot of you have been listening to me for some time, but I don't feel like you know a whole lot about me and what my background and what we do here. So today, I wanted to do an episode where I discuss why Christian. Why Christian? Who is Christian? Why Christian? Okay. Why should I work with Christian Brindle on my Medicare? What makes Christian Brindle different? So today, that's what we're going to talk about. So first things first, I wanted to start with my background. I'm not going to go back into my childhood and what I did as a kid. Nobody cares about that. You know what I mean? I don't even care about that. And it's my childhood. It's relatively uneventful, but the most I'm going to tell you about that is, for those of you who don't know me, I grew up around the insurance industry. My dad was an early pioneer in the Medicare industry in Utah, and for the most part, he kind of pioneered Utah Medicare. When he first started, there wasn't a whole lot of people working in the Medicare industry. It was kind of a niche market is what they looked at it as. And so I grew up around the industry. He started doing this before I was even born. For those of you who don't know, I'm 27 years old. I turned 27 early in August. I've been involved in this industry since I was about 20. Okay, I came into the business when I was about 20. I grew up around the industry, and it's been a great ride. I've been doing it for many years. I started off working with my dad, and it cut the learning curve. Because I had a great mentor and support system in my dad, as far as being able to teach me everything that I needed to know to effectively help people. And a lot of people don't have what I had early on. A lot of people don't. And so, at a young age, I started to notice that I knew more about Medicare, and I knew more about the business and the industry than people that were twice my age, sometimes 3 times my age, because there were people coming into the business that were in their 50s and 60s. Believe it or not, you'll see a lot of newer agents, new people that come into the insurance industry after they're retired because they don't feel like they have anything to do. I don't know why people think they can get into this business when you're basically retired, and you're going to do it as a hobby. I mean, this business, especially when you're starting out, takes a tremendous amount of time, commitment on anybody's end. So I never quite understood that. I don't personally recall seeing, and I've seen a couple. I don't personally recall seeing that many people come into this business and be that effective that late in life, because this is a business that's incredibly complex. There's so much to know, and there's a lot of responsibility, because if you're a good agent, you take responsibility for helping people make decisions. You're making recommendations that impact people, that if you make the wrong recommendation, it could potentially set them back tremendously, financially, not getting the care they need for their health. It's a lot of responsibility when you're making a recommendation. So you need to know your stuff. You need to know what you're doing. And I noticed really early on that not that many people do in the insurance industry. I don't feel that many people really know what they're doing. I mean, I had a guy come on my podcast in the last couple of months named Cody Askins. Cody is someone that owns a bunch of different insurance-based companies. If you haven't heard that podcast and that interview, go back and listen to it. But Cody is someone that says something that I've been saying for a long time myself, even before I had heard of him and I knew about him. But he does an 8% conference for insurance brokers and things like that, basically saying that 92% of insurance brokers, the statistic is 92% of insurance brokers, and I've seen various statistics. I've seen some of them say 90%, some of them say 94 or 5%, but basically he says 92% of insurance brokers are out of the insurance industry in a 3-year time period. So what that means is there's constantly turnover. It's as high of a turnover rate as almost anything you're ever going to see. And it's something that means that most people that you talk to in the insurance industry have less than 3 years of experience. And, everybody's got to start somewhere, but that's kind of scary when you think about it. And I saw that early on. I noticed it really, really early on. I was somebody that I came in. I had the benefit of having a mentor in my dad, and I had a lot of other mentors and people. I did an interview with a man by the name of Craig Sharp with Sharp Insurance earlier on, months ago. Go back and listen to that episode. It's a really good one. But Craig was one of my early mentors. Had a lot of great teachers in the industry, and it helped me. Bottom line, it helped me learn quicker. It helped cut my learning curve, and I was able to know and be more effective for my clients than people that were twice, sometimes 3 times my age. And it's nothing bad to say about them. It's just, this business was for me, but I also had a lot of help as far as helping me learn things. Because in my opinion, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power to be able to effectively do something the correct way. And I was able to do that. I was able to do that early on. Before I started in the insurance business, I worked at an assisted living facility. I was probably a teenager at the time. And I learned a lot about a lot of things there, but I did all kinds of things for that company. I worked in the kitchen. I waited tables. I washed dishes. Sometimes I would cook food. I did night security. I did concierge front desk work. I helped with the activities department. I did all kinds of work for this community, and I just loved it. And I loved being able to work with the residents and everything like that. My wife always tells me that I have kind of an old soul. I have an old soul to where my sense of humor is kind of old. People that are my age typically look at me and they think I'm just kind of corny and lame and everything like that. But I've always really, really connected with people that were older than me, than the higher generation, and part of that could be. When my parents had me, they were rather older. My mom was, I think she was 40 when she had me, which, is amazing and a testament to her and her health and how she takes care of herself. My dad, I think, was about 37, 38 when they had me, somewhere in that ballpark. So my parents are quite a bit older than me. A lot of people, their parents are 20 years older than them or 25 years older than them. But my parents are, about 40 years older than me. So, me being 27, my dad, he just got on Medicare this past November. And my mom got on Medicare a few years before that. And so, my parents are quite a bit older than me, and so being raised by parents that were quite a bit older than me, I think that had a lot to do with my personality. And it probably benefited me because I connect a lot with a generation ahead of me. I always have, I always will. It doesn't mean I don't connect with people of my age group, because I do, but I think it helps me connect with a more diverse array of people. And I noticed that when I was working at this assisted living facility. When I started in the business, I loved it immediately from day one. I was kind of a drifter early on, trying to look for my purpose, as I think everybody goes through this to a certain degree. But I was trying different things. I grew up playing drums. I loved music. Loved old music primarily. Classic rock was my favorite. I love the Beatles. I love the Rolling Stones. I love Led Zeppelin. I love music in general. Lots of different kinds of music. And I played drums for many years, probably 10 years in my childhood. And I always thought early on that I would do something with music. And I had a lot of different different points in my life where I was trying different things, and I never thought I would grow up to be an insurance agent. My dad was always an insurance agent. I grew up around the industry. I knew so much about it, but I never thought I would actually grow up to be an insurance agent. It's something that didn't really cross my mind. It's not exactly a sexy career, and I've said this multiple times on the podcast. It's not exactly a sexy career for people. And so I primarily just kind of fell into it, and then when I wasn't sure what else I wanted to do, I thought I'd give it a try. And I always encourage insurance agents not to do this, even though it's what I did. Give it a try. You don't want to try something; you need to be sure that you want to do it. But for me, I gave it a try, and it was something that I discovered instantly that I just fell in love with the business. I fell in love with the industry. I love working with my clients. I love talking to my clients. I love building a relationship over a long period of time with my clients. When you work with somebody on their plan for many years, you get to know them, and they become friends and family friends and just people that you're very close to, and you love being able to talk to them. It's something that you look forward to, and you love being able to help them. And the appreciation that I saw early on, because of the teachers I had and growing up around the industry, it cut the learning curve, and I was able to understand this stuff at a very young age. Be well beyond my years, a lot of people would always tell me. And people appreciated that because they couldn't find what I was giving them very many places. I've always been a good communicator, I feel. I've always been an effective communicator. And so my ability to communicate things, my ability to kind of break things down, be able to tell stories, to be able to explain things in a way that stick in people's heads always benefited me in this business. And that's actually why I started the podcast, because I thought, what a better way for me to be able to help people than to have almost a library of content where any question you can ever have about Medicare will be answered. Stay with me into segment 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk more about why I think you should think about working with me on your Medicare. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. This is Christian Brindle, and this is segment 2 of episode 95 of the Everything Medicare Podcast. And today we're talking about me, something that I'm very uncomfortable with, as I reiterated in segment 1. I'm talking about me, folks. Mainly the point of this episode, and I'm just going to shamelessly plug myself, is why it might not be such a bad idea to work with my company and kind of what we bring to the table. I'm not going to do any more episodes like this, but we're coming into the enrollment period. It's something that I felt like would be a good idea to do. But not only that, I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of pull the sheet over and unveil everything there is to know about me, everything that I can disclose, anything that I can think of. I mean, if you've listened to me for some time, you know I'm married. You know I have a baby daughter. She's almost 4 months old. She was born earlier on this year, and I did a lot of podcasts about her. I even did a podcast episode where we discussed how grandkids are covered, just because I did that a couple days after she was born, and we brought her home from the hospital. But I'm very transparent, folks. I understood that if I was going to do a podcast, I didn't want to just do a cookie-cutter podcast about Medicare, where it's just, plan this, plan that, plan this, plan that. I wanted it to also be to where you get to know me. You get to know me, and I tell you everything about me, and I talk with you about my personal life, and I kind of incorporate it in, because if you're anything like me, folks, I remember things, as far as lessons are concerned, in story mode better than I do just hearing the information, there was a math equation in school, E equals MC squared. I still don't know what it means, but I remember the equation because I had a teacher that told it in the form of a story. Bad example, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Stories are good, and I learned early on that I was a great communicator. I was really good at telling stories. So first things first, I kind of wanted to talk about what I bring to the table, okay? So my organization, first of all, there's a lot of people that do this, not just us, so I want to disclose that. But basically, we work with all of the largest insurance companies in the Medicare industry, whether it be Medicare supplements, whether it be Medicare Advantage plans, whether it be Medicare Part D plans, whether it be dental, vision, hearing products, whether it be cancer products, you name it. If it's tied with Medicare, we can do it. We do life insurance, burial insurance, term life insurance, etc., and we work with people in the states of Utah, Oregon, Idaho, and Florida. Okay? So, what I want you to understand is, like a lot of places, but not like every place, we carry all of these different carriers, tons of them, so that way we can sort through the options for you and look at a situation based on your particular needs and preferences, and we can make a recommendation that we feel is going to be the best for you specifically. Don't care about commission. Couldn't care less. I never have, and I never will. I'd rather have a happy client on the smallest possible commission I could get. Like most agencies, it doesn't cost a penny more to work with my organization than it does going directly through the insurance company. Okay? So, really, you get me, my office, our third-party customer service, and our insight to be able to compare your plan with the various different types of companies out there for no extra charge. It's exactly the same price, exactly the same product as if you went directly through the insurance company. But here's the difference of working with a good agent. This isn't just for me particularly. If you're live in one of the states that I'm not licensed in at the moment, this is something that you need to know as well. It's important to work with an independent agent that has no bias. Let me explain. Independent, for one, because they can show you the different options that are available. So let me give an example. Let's say you get a plan through a big insurance company, right? And you get it directly through them. It's the best available plan. You do all your own research, but the plan changes over the years. Do you think that company, if you call and ask them questions, is going to, one, have the insight on their competition's plans to be able to tell you if it's better? They won't even know, even if they wanted to. Number two, they'll never tell you because they're completely biased. You'll never know if there's a better option available. Working with someone like me, or just an independent agent in general that has, one, an independent status where they are able to represent multiple insurance companies for you, and two, has no biases. Because there's brokers out there that are independent, but primarily, they fall in love with one or two companies and they have biases. It's very important that you have those two things, independent but no biases. You can't have one without the other. But if you don't have those two things, you'll never know if there's a better product available. If your product changes for the worse, or it's no longer the best fit for you, or if your needs change, you need someone that you can be able to get on the phone with that's going to be able to tell you if there's a better option available, and there's no problem moving you to that option if it's going to benefit you. Okay? That's what we do. Not only that, we give year-round customer service to our clients. There's a lot of organizations that do that on top of us. Well, not on top of us, but in addition to what we do. There's a lot of companies that do what we do, is what I'm trying to say in that regard. But there's so many that don't. There's so many agencies that don't do that. I don't know why. They look at it like it's their job to enroll you in a plan, and then they never have talked to you again. Their job is done. We have a gal that's training with us here, and I just hired her. Okay, so I'm training her, getting her ready for the enrollment period. She's very smart, very good. I think she's going to be really, really great here working with us. But I was training her, and she was like, "The stuff that you guys do, it's above and beyond your job, isn't it? Like, it's not your job to work on claims for people. It's not your job to do all this customer service work." Maybe not, but I look at it like it is. And that's what I told her. I said, this is how we keep our clients happy. Our clients should benefit from working with us just as much, if not more, than we benefit from them working with us. They should get more out of it than we do. That's what a good business is all about. And I want a good business, the one that my clients can benefit from. Okay, that's our culture here. And that culture is going to be found in probably less than 5% of the available insurance brokers and agencies out there, in my personal opinion. Doesn't mean I'm the only one that has those values, but there's very few that do. Okay? Not only that, we have a 24-hour response guarantee to emails, voicemails, and text messages to me personally. I give my personal cell phone out to my own clients. I don't give it to everybody, but my clients. If you're a client of mine, you have a 24-hour return call or response guarantee. 24 hours. I don't know anybody else that does that. Okay? The third and final thing we do is during the enrollment period, when things change on someone's Medicare Advantage plan specifically, is what we do, because we don't really do it with Medicare supplements, because Medicare supplements don't change. If the rates are going up consistently and we find that there's a better rate available for them, we'll contact them about that, but that's not necessarily during the enrollment period. That can be at any point in the year. But what we do is the first couple of weeks of October is we'll reach out to every person we work with on a Medicare Advantage plan and go over the changes with them, just so they're aware of it. If they're not happy with the changes, we'll look at a different program. But nobody does that. Nobody that I'm aware of. There's very few. I talked to someone the other day that he's an agent on the other side of the country from me, and he said that his organization does that, and I was pleased to hear that, because there's so few that do it. Now, it takes a lot of time and money and investment from my organization to be able to do that, because there's a ton of people we work with. It's a huge job every year, but we do it. Just the attention to detail, folks. The attention to detail. We take our service incredibly seriously, and not many places do. Okay? So we want to make sure that we're working with as many people as we can and at a high level, and make sure that everybody gets the personal care that they possibly require. And that's the culture. That's the mindset. And that's what I think separates me and my organization from the masses. Okay? Don't go anywhere. Stay with me into segment 3. Welcome back, everybody. This is our third and final segment of this week's Everything Medicare Podcast. So, folks, if this is your first time listening to me, or whether you've been listening to me for a year, if you live in the states of Utah, Oregon, Idaho, or Florida, I'd love to have the chance to be able to talk with you and possibly help you on your Medicare plan. If you're on Medicare and you're just not sure if you're on the best program for you, or you're not sure if you have the best price available to you, or whether you're turning 65 and you're just confused with the different options, no matter what your situation is, I'd love the opportunity to be able to talk with you. So this coming enrollment period is the time when people on Medicare can revisit their plans. That time is October 15th through December 7th. But I can talk with you about possible changes in your market starting October 1st. If you'd like to speak with me at Christian Brindle Insurance Services at our offices, call our office at 801-255-5340, 801-255-5340. Or if you're more comfortable shooting me an email, feel free. My email address is Christian B, Christian, B as in boy, at xmission.com. Just the letter X and the word mission, mission.com. Christian B at xmission.com. And let me know a little bit about your situation, and I'll be able to tell you possibly if I can help you. I'd love the chance to be able to talk to you. Absolutely no cost. Never any cost. No obligation. So if we take a look at your situation and it turns out you're in the best available thing for you, or maybe for some particular reason we're not able to help you, it's always my obligation to tell you that. And we're never gonna recommend anything unless it's going to be an upgrade for you. That's just our culture here. That's just what we have going on. As always, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for helping this podcast be as high as it is. And this is the last episode we'll do where we're kind of doing a salesy kind of thing. But it's something that I wanted to do, and I just wanted to let everybody know on the podcast that me and my organization is available to help you if you'd like. And I thought it'd be a little fun to kind of go a little bit deep into me and my background and my story. Okay. As always, folks, we're starting to record every episode of this podcast on video, which makes me highly uncomfortable, me being on video while I do this. That way, if I'm picking my nose, you'll see it. I don't pick my nose. I'm just kidding. But head over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, give it a like, help us reach more people. But we also do a web show. We do once or twice, probably 2 to 4 times a month, depending on how busy we are. But it's called Medicare Empowerment, where I'm doing that for you. And then we also do various other educational Medicare videos, which can be found on the YouTube channel. So Christian Brindle, emoji, a cartoon face of me, you'll find it. Subscribe to us, help us reach more people, and let us know what you'd like to see in future videos and on future podcasts. We'll be doing a lot more AEP, annual election period centric videos and podcast episodes coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, and have a fantastic rest of your week. Take care.